Also receiving a Red Ochre Award for their outstanding lifelong contribution to the recognition of First Nations arts is Stephen Page, AO.
I'm Stephen Page. I'm a freshwater saltwater man, a Yugambeh Nunakal man. My father's side is from the Yugambeh Nation, and my mother's a saltwater woman from the Nunakal Nugi clans, nations. I am the current artistic director of Bangarra Dance Theatre. I've been director for 31 years now. Yeah, look, I grew up, we would call it the south of Bronx in Brisbane. 12 kids in my family. You know, I'm number 10 of 12. So I work in the performing arts. So Bangarra is a national First Nations dance company. It feels all the things that I'd done later on in life artistically, whether that be working with mob or whether that's in the mainstream or having a taste of commercialism. I feel like I had a taste of it all and seen it all and been around it pretty much in my own backyard. I've never trained until I got to Sydney to train in dance. So NAISDA, or the Aboriginal Islander Dance Theatre, what it offered up was that you can connect back to your culture and stories. And in between that, I got the opportunity to be a dancer with Sydney Dance Company under the directorship of Graham Murphy and Jenna Vernon. So through the college, if people said to me, what did you learn? No, it's not just ballet and jazz and contemporary. It's a real cultural awakening. You're going because you're rediscovering who you are, and you choose that as a young adult. You know, I go there, I realise where my parents come from, I get to have wonderful opportunities with these elders that share their stories with us. By 26, I'm being offered an artistic directorship job running one of the First Nations mainstream dance companies in this country. Thank you for this Red Ochre Award. A big thanks to Adrian Collette, Francesca Cabillo, everyone at the Australian Council for the Arts, NITV, to all those peers and colleagues who had nominated me for this award. Thank you. Look, this is a real honour for me. I'm very humbled about it because I remember when this award, the Red Ochre Award, was birthed way back in 1993 in the wonderful Labor Keating government, where the support for arts was enormous. You know, Bangarra, a lot of contemporary First Nations arts companies through the performing arts and the visual arts got a real good head start in the early 90s to establish themselves as a First Nations cultural foundation. So I remember that time very well. I remember the first recipient, the wonderful Eva Johnson. I was fortunate to be an amazing poet, activist, playwright, and I was fortunate, along with my brother David, to be in one of her plays in 1989 called Murras. I was a young dancer then, and David was an actor that Eva wrote in Murras. So along the way, it's close to next year, will be 30 years of the Red Ochre, and there's some extraordinary recipients of this award. A lot of them are my teachers. I look along the line of, you know, amazing Uncle Bob Mazza, to very close, my Amala, Dr. B. Marika, to Lola Greeno, and to most recently, a wonderful man up there in Mulwinjum, Donnie Woolagudja. So to be in the company of these great First Nations cultural artistic leaders is quite amazing, and this will stay with me forever, because when I think of everyone that's received this award and the voice and the message that comes from our First Nations artists across this nation is very powerful, and I could not thank you, the Australian Council for the Arts, for this award enough, and yes, very honoured.